on this episode of the... Okay, go on and say it.
Eagle Talon.
Mitsu Gang?
What's going on, guys? So, we're halfway done. I have been out here doing my thing. But look what we got. Boom! And who's the only one here? I'm the only one here again. Anyway, got it out. Yeah, Panas, we're on our way, boy. So, I gotta manhandle this freaking thing out here. I'm gonna shuffle it out here, and then I'm gonna have you guys see what the automatic transmission looks like in the Eagle Talon. Okay, so this thing is a little heavy. There it is. Now I seriously gotta do some cleaning because this is gonna make me irritated. So I'm gonna clean this stuff, figure out what I'm gonna do with this, and then we can start working on putting in the manual. So I just want to show you the tranny before we put it in. Randy's gonna get here on his lunch. Ow. And we're gonna install it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go to the parts store and get some lube and some grease. Take this clutch out, put some lube on all the components, the fork and the release bearing and the seals, and then I think that'll be good for me enough to be able to put it in. So I'm gonna go do that now, and then I'll cut to when we put the tranny in there. So at this point, we attempted to put on the clutch pack, but once we tried to put it on, the 4 holes that you see right there, they were not aligning with the clutch on the other side. So I had to, well, what we realized was we had to switch out the flywheel, the flex plate, whatever you call it, switch that out with the manual one. Then we put that one back on there, and then we were able to put the clutch on, the bolts, 4 bolts aligned. So what I'm doing is I'm turning the crank around so that Randy can twist in each bolt one by one. Once he tightens one, I'll turn it and turn it until it gets to the next one. He'll put it in there, and then he'll go over until we put all 4 bolts in. Then once we put all 4 bolts in, we'll go back over it again, and then we'll tighten it down to spec.
that's what we did. I needed 2 people in there. I mean, I could have just put the extension bar on there and let it block it off, but it was better off with both of us there, and we were able to get it done within a timely manner.
All right, guys, we have a sight to see. We got a sight. Right over here on the left, we have the automatic transmission that came out of the 97 Eagle Talon. Trash. Right over here in the middle, we got the manual transmission for an 97 Eagle Talon. Fire. Fire. And on this side, we got the infamous 4G63 transmission. That's not for this car, because that transmission's fine and that motor's fine. It just needs a new belt and an alignment, and that back needs to be fixed. But let's take that out of the corner. This may be the potential suitor for the future for the Eagle Talon, because as you know, the Eagle Talon as it sits right now is just we're just hitting the bare minimum. This is just a 420A. Yes, it's as reliable as they say, but it doesn't create a lot of power. It gets a lot of hate. I mean, I shouldn't say that, because I've seen a lot of people, Retro Kid, I saw all his from hella years ago. He was doing power with them, with the eBay turbos and whatnot. He was making power along with some other people. I saw he was doing some internals and getting all the boring out the pistons and doing all that stuff. I guess if you put a lot of money into this, of course, like with everything, you're gonna get a little bit of return. I would think. So, to try to avoid that though, and we don't even have to put money into that. We can set that aside for later. We can even slap this into another car and sell it later on the line. But we got a transmission and we got a motor, a 4G63 motor that creates a lot more power and is a lot more reliable for the things that we like to do today, which, you know, give it a little bit of two-step. I haven't enjoyed that yet, but I'm going to soon when I get my tune. But, you know, hitting some power. So all 3 transmissions, look how different they are. This one's way bulky, super just heavy, nasty, a little bit more thinner, you know, components, boom, boom, boom. This one's a little bit more hefty, a little bit more meatier. I think it'll be a good suitor, but I'm gonna put this away. I'll probably put it back over there and make some more space, but we got to get this transmission in. We got the clutch in. I'm gonna torque down the flywheel bolts to the correct spec, and then I'm gonna try to put this transmission in. We're back at the house. We just took out the transmission. I showed you guys the layout and the transmissions, and maybe hopefully what is to come for the Eagle Talon in the future. But I want to conclude this video and just go over the stuff that that I did and Randy helped with later on. So we disconnected the mounts, the back one and the right, as well as all the bell housing bolts. There was a bracket bolt on the underside of the transmission, as well as a top bolt that Randy forgot. That single bolt was the one that was holding the transmission up, and why I couldn't figure out which bolt or what mount was holding up the transmission. Once I was able to figure that bolt out, which I'll show you guys, if I didn't show you guys already, the transmission just fell right down.
I of course had the jack under there with a piece of block of wood. I lowered the jack down and allowed the transmission to kind of fall down. After that, I kind of just wiggled the transmission down to the ground. I had to take out the block of wood because it was preventing it. I couldn't move out the jack, because the jack like bar that you use to turn and lift and to jack up, when you pull on it, it comes out. So I had to take the jack out because I couldn't really use it to pull out the transmission with the jack. So I took out the jack, and then I just shimmied the transmission out from under the engine bay, from under the wheel well actually. After that, it was a piece of cake. From there, Randy got off on his lunch, and we were gonna just put the clutch in and then do the flywheel kind of situation, but I just said, why don't we put the clutch on with the flywheel, and then we'll put the clutch on, so we don't have to worry about shimmying anything on or doing anything like that. Not knowing, we tried to put the clutch on with of course the regular flywheel bolts, and it wouldn't match up. It was a little bit off. We were racking our brains. What is going on? Why are we having issues? It should just be no point if she can be able to just put it on and take it off. That's not the case. You have to switch out the flywheel from a manual to an automatic, because the manual and automatic flywheels do not match up. So we switched those out. Of course they matched. I was a little scared because I was like, okay, what else do I have to pay for? But we switched those out, and the clutch hooked up to the flywheel perfect, no problem. So now left with to do, probably either later on tonight or tomorrow, probably on the next video, is to tighten down those flywheel bolts and start putting in the transmission. So I already lubed up the input shaft as well as the axle seals that that Randy installed earlier, and yeah, everything else looks pretty good. So tune in next time. We're gonna get this transmission in, guys. Tune in next time on the Eagle. All right.
Eagle Talon. Hi guys, thanks for watching my video. Subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching me and my dad work on my Eagle Talon.
Mitsu Gang?